Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday evening, 7 p.m., and this is the Audacious Confidence Show with your host, Alicia Khoury. Yes, I am the Red Carpet CEO, and I'm here to influence, educate, inspire, and entertain you so you can step into your own audacious confidence and be more, do more, have more, live the life of your dreams without limits. And today's show is all about being enough. I know for me, there were decades of my life. I can't even say times in my life. There were decades of my life when I did not feel like I was enough. I did not feel like I measured up. I didn't feel like I was good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, that I had the right stuff, that my hair wasn't enough, my skin wasn't enough, the way I spoke wasn't enough. So this is what this show is all about. It's really reclaiming your I am enoughness. I just made up a word right here live. Yes, I did. So I have the most amazing guest with me tonight, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So if you can just grab everybody you know so that we can all talk about this subject of being enough. And my guest is the amazing Megan Fenyo. Megan is an Air Force veteran, if you can imagine that. She is bad to the bone. She's an Air Force veteran, licensed clinical mental health therapist, a speaker, a trainer, the host of the Blonde Bombshell podcast, which I had the pleasure of being on, and the I Am Enough TV, which I also had the pleasure of being a guest on, and the founder of the International I Am Enough movement, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that she founded last year. She is an Amazon bestselling author and recently published her book, Are You Enough? 5 Steps to Move from Struggle to Strength. She's been featured on SiriusXM Radio, including The Jenny McCarthy Show, as well as over 300 television and radio shows and podcasts. Megan has gone through many struggles throughout her life, most recently being involved in a narcissistic abusive marriage. She was left traumatized, and this is when she began questioning if she was enough. For many years, she was living a life without meaning and purpose. And now Megan's passion and purpose is to help you, number 1, build confidence, 2, find clarity in getting what you truly want in life, 3, get inspired to take action towards building the life of your dreams, and 4, empower you to believe you are enough. She and I are in so much synergy. It's crazy. So I'd like to welcome to the show right now the amazing Megan Fenyo. Come on in, girl.
Hey.
Hi.
What's up,
I know. I am so excited to have you. Is there anything I left out in your bio, your intro, that you want to add?
Well, we do have to add the fact that we are women of achievement.
Yes, we're queens. We are queens.
We are queens. And that is where you and I met. And there's the picture right there of us.
Yes.
Yes. So we definitely have to add that in there and give a little women of achievement shout out there.
Absolutely. I hope they're watching us tonight. But we did meet back in November at Long Beach, California, where we both competed for the Women of Achievement in the Women of Achievement pageant. We were in different categories, but that was a picture of us on the red carpet right after I was crowned Mrs. United States Woman of Achievement. Woo! So yeah, and so we were. Look at you! You look so pretty. So that was fun, and I'm so excited to meet you because when you gave your speech, your platform speech about being enough and the struggle you went through, and I haven't gone through that same struggle as you, but I can so relate to that struggle of feeling like you're not enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we all have. I mean, we all have struggled with it, whether it be in our health, career, relationships, what have you. Every single person out there has struggled one time or not with not being enough.
Right. Absolutely. Which connects us all. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is, the first segment we're going to talk about is all about that. It's, are you enough? Because you are a clinical psychotherapist. Got that right?
mental health therapist.
Mental health therapist. And so you see things every day. So when you wait, first segment is not, I was not enough. First segment. So when you think about what your whole movement is about now, sorry, am I enough? Do you see that a lot in your practice?
Oh my gosh, yes, all the time. I have a private mental health practice, but I also work outside of the home a couple days a week with chronic pain patients. But definitely, like I said earlier, we all struggle with that. It doesn't matter what happens in life. We have all questioned, am I enough? Am I enough when it comes to being a mom, a daughter, whatever you do for work, a good husband, anything like that. So I see it all the time, although people don't associate that I'm not good enough with the reasons why they might be stuck in their life. And so that's kind of where it all kind of comes together, is when I can help them and support them, saying, well, the reason why you're stuck is because you don't have the confidence, or you're lacking the confidence in a certain area, and it affects all parts of your life. So that's kind of where it comes into play, for sure.
Wow. And so are the 5 steps that you created an answer to that, or was it just an answer to you?
Well, that's a really good question. It's both. So the book was written, the 5 steps were written after I walked away from my abusive ex-husband, which I know we're going to get into in the next segment. So I'll share all the juicy details for later. But I worked through those 5 steps. So I was actually working through the steps while I was writing the book. And so those were the 5 steps that helped me move from my struggle into my strength, and to truly believe that I was enough. And it's a lot of work, but the steps are life-changing, for sure.
Wow. How does someone recognize, because you talked about that a minute ago, because you said, a lot of times you don't even recognize that's going on. I know I didn't. I really didn't recognize it. How does someone recognize when they are suffering from that, when they're not feeling confident?
Well, I think it really comes out in your behaviors and your feelings. So I talked earlier today with some of my patients, although we're doing phone sessions because of Corona. I talk a lot about cognitive distortions and basically how what we think affects our behaviors and our actions. So if you are literally struggling with motivation and energy, and maybe you're having sleep issues, or maybe you're sleeping too much, or maybe you're just kind of blah, that is when you have to look at, what are you saying to yourself? Because it's usually something that we're saying to ourselves that we're not even sure of, or there's a situation that made us feel like not good enough that really is playing into our overall situation. And that's how we notice it first, is in our behaviors. We don't really notice it in what we're thinking first. We notice it in our behaviors. So that's a great way.
We have to be aware of our behavior to notice it too.
Exactly. Well, that's true.
You have to be aware, because sometimes you're patterning something and you're not even aware that you're doing it. And someone might tell you, why are you doing that? And you're not even aware that you're actually doing it.
You know what? That's a really good thing. Can I just share a story real quick?
Sure.
So I was in a car accident in October, right before the
event.
I didn't even know if I was going to be able to walk in heels. But now here it is March, and it was a pretty significant car accident. It was me and 6 of my girlfriends in a limo in wine country in Napa.
Wow.
Anyway, it could have been a lot worse, but that is so true, because even as a therapist, like, I was struggling, and it was like around December-ish where I was like, I have no motivation. People were starting to notice, like my roommate was like, Megan, like, usually I'm working like 15 hours a day, like on my computer, doing all this stuff. And I was just like on the couch, like I was still doing what I needed to do, but just had no motivation, no energy. And so I realized that, oh my gosh, something's going on. And so I went back to my therapist and I was like, hey, something's not right. And it was from the accident. It was from all my injuries, stuff that I'm still dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad that you said that because I didn't even know. But
It took somebody else to notice it. And as I'm talking about that, one of the things that I hid very, very well. Hey, Kathy, thank you for joining us. One of the things that I didn't even know I was doing. Patrick says, "Hey, Megan, looking great as usual."
Oh, Patrick, you're so sweet.
Says I've gone through that over the last few years, but have surrounded myself with people that build me up. That's wonderful, Patrick. Wonderful. When we're talking about behavior, Alicia, fellow LCSW.
So that means licensed clinical social worker / mental health therapist. So
yay. I'm sorry, I didn't finish read what she said. What Alicia said. She said, self-talk and recognition of cognitive distortions is so powerful for change. Thank you, Alicia.
My soapbox is cognitive distortions.
Yeah.
I love it.
So for me, people around me thought I was confident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People around me said, how could you not be confident? Look at what you do and it took me realizing I had to do a lot of work to realize that on the inside, it was the feeling that I was feeling on the inside, that even though, because I was naturally already a somewhat bold person, not like gregariously bold, like, oh, I walk into the room and say, oh, but I would take chances and I would do things. I would step out and do things. So they saw that as confident because my natural MO is to take chances. But I would take those chances and feel inadequate and shrink back from it. So I'll take the step, but then I'll shrink within that framework. So I'll say, oh yeah, I'll go do the speech, but then I will not show up for myself and just like read or something like that, So when I knew I could do so much better. Yeah. So I get the behavior. I felt it, but nobody else saw it because they saw that I was doing. So that's just a little nugget I'm throwing out there because you might see it in your behavior. Other people might see it in your behavior. But if you feel like you should be doing more, you could be doing more, you're holding yourself back, that's something to also think about.
Well, and that's exactly what I talk about in the book, and how I got to where I'm at today is because I had that nudging feeling and I ignored it for so long. And I thought the nudging feeling was one thing, and then it was something completely different. So I'm super excited to share that with you guys as well, because it's so profound. And I think a lot of us do have those feelings and we don't know what it is. And it's the fear that stops us and keeps us stuck. And that fear of not being good enough. Like if I identify what this is, that means I'm going to have to go do it. And I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough to do it. Absolutely 100%. 100%. Because you have that, it's those limiting beliefs and those fears. And then you start comparing yourself to how other people are doing it, and you're saying, I can't do it like that. I can't.
Oh my gosh.
And you start, I can't.
I can't wait till the second segment because I have such a great story about that.
We're coming up to it right now. So let me tell you something. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Alicia Khoury, the Red Carpet CEO, and with me here on the Audacious Confidence Show is my amazing guest, as you can see on her shirt. It is Megan Benyo. She is a licensed clinical therapist, and so we're talking about the confidence to be enough. Your confidence to just be enough, who you are, and step into that. And so, Megan, welcome again to the show. So this segment, we're going to talk about the times when you were not enough. I was not enough. What does that feel like? What did you experience in that? And how did that all come about for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to make this short and sweet, but I really think I started feeling like not enough. I think young as a child. I have a learning disability. I have an 8th grade reading level and an 8th grade math level. And my guidance counselor in high school told me I should never go to college because I was not going to graduate college. But here I am now, a licensed mental health therapist for over 15 years, licensed both in Michigan and California, and love what I do. And I think that didn't stop me though. So I think going into college, it was kind of that motivation for me to keep going. and to defy the odds and show people that, hey, I can do this. But, you know, I struggled throughout my life with just, I'm 4'11", so I struggled a lot with.
Sister friend, my sister. That's how we bonded, by the way, at the pageant. We were both shorties.
Oh my goodness. So I think I struggled a lot with it. Now I embrace it. I'm like, it is what it is.
Me too.
I'm 40 years old. I always thought by the time I was 40, I was going to hit 5 foot. That never happened. It is what it is. Although I did hit 5 foot in the Air Force. I think they bumped me up because you had to be 5 foot to get in the Air Force, but I'm technically 4'11". But anyway, and so I just, you know, and I just never had the right clothes and all whatever. So I really didn't blossom until like into who I really wanted to be until college. Like when I got away from all of that, and I loved college. It was great, even though it was very hard for me. But just, I'm going to jump forward to the actual good stuff. So in 2012, I commissioned as an officer in the Air Force and moved from Michigan to California and provided mental health treatment at Travis Air Force Base in Northern California. I was 33 at the time. I did not plan on meeting a husband, but guess what? Lo and behold, I did. And it was a whirlwind of a relationship. We were engaged and married within 11 months, had a beautiful wedding in Napa. I thought everything was great. And then really things started to change. I had just started noticing him lying about a lot of things. A lot of my old issues, like abandonment issues and trust issues, kind of started jumping back in, and I hadn't seen those in a while. And I just felt really manic all the time, and I felt like I was on edge all the time. And I just kept catching him in lies. He ended up having an affair for 14 months of our 2.5-year marriage. Wow. And he kicked me out of our house twice. He filed for divorce 4 times and pulled the papers in 2 years. So literally like 2 years, kicked out of the house, divorce, what's going on? I also had left the military. So I literally, it was like the worst.
You didn't know if you were coming or going.
I didn't know. And all I wanted to do was make this marriage work. And so the divorce finally, oops, I got all excited. Like I got my things off.
Live TV.
I know, right? Gotta love it. Oh, well, we're all about being authentic and real. Who cares?
Exactly.
I'm not going to apologize. Okay. No. So the divorce was final in 2016, but I was so like traumatized still and really didn't know what was going on. And I remained faithful and committed to him for 2 years after that. And it wasn't until that nudging feeling, which is what we were talking about earlier. I thought the nudging feeling was for me to move from Northern California to San Diego with him still in my life, just to kind of start over. And then maybe that would show him like he really does miss me and really wants to make this work. Because for those 2 years after the divorce, I never returned to our home, but we were still dating. I was still talking to him every day. And mind you, for those of you who are watching, I'm a licensed therapist, and I still had no idea really what was going on the outside. I looked like I had it all together. Inside, I was dying. I literally, no idea. So 2 years ago, February 15th of 2018, he was like, I'm coming down to San Diego. I have a job interview. I'm going to prove to you I made the biggest mistake of my life, like he had said for 2 years. And I remember praying when I picked him up, and I said, okay, Lord, if this isn't meant to be, you need to show me, because the affair wasn't enough. The divorce wasn't enough for me to walk away. If
kicking you out of the house wasn't enough.
None of it. If you show me, I will follow, or I will listen. I had not prayed that prayer. Now it's 6 years later. I had not prayed that prayer because I knew the minute I would have,
he would have shown me. Yeah.
And kid you not, 24 hours later, he was in my living room. And I found out that he had moved in a girl, not the girl he had an affair with, but a different girl, into our home a month before our divorce was final. Bought her a brand new car. I was not allowed to get an attorney. I got threatened, so I wasn't allowed to do that. So I walked away with pretty much nothing. He had bought her a brand new car, and she'd been living in our house for 2 years. For 2 years that I was dating him, and him telling me that he wanted me back and all of this stuff. Wow. So February 15th, 2018, I walked away from him. I have not had any contact with him. He's had some contact with me, but I haven't responded. And I had lost my 6-figure income 4 months before that.
Wow.
So here I am, no income, walked away from who I thought was the love of my life. And I was like, now what am I going to do? Talk about not feeling good enough.
Right.
I lost my job as a therapist after 15 years. Like, hello, how does that happen? And so I said, okay, well, I don't want to go back and get a full-time job. I feel like this happened to me for a reason, and I want to be able to give back and do something and help people. So I started my own private practice, and also started this thing called entrepreneurship 2 years ago, which I'm completely still clueless about. So talk about questioning if I'm enough, like that still happens a lot. But I wrote my best-selling book, and it came out, and I, speak all over the country, and literally the most transformative years of my life over the last 2 years. I had to go into therapy. I had to do the trauma work. I had to do the hard work to getting back to who I was. Well, actually,
right.
No,
well, not who you were, but the new and improved.
Right. It was learning I had to close the door of the person I was when I was with him and create this new person. Because if you would have told me 2 years ago, I would have done all of this and have a nonprofit, and I would have laughed in your face, because that was never even on my radar.
Right.
I literally just thought for the rest of my life, I was going to be a therapist with 4 walls around me, helping people. And that was it.
Right.
And here I am 2 years later, and it's just a whirlwind. But I had to do the hard work first. I had to identify that nudging feeling, which was not, by the way, moving to San Diego. The nudging feeling was to leave him. And the minute
because he was destroying your self-esteem.
Exactly. And the minute I did, everything, changed. People say all the time, like, this all happened in 2 years. You've built this, you've done this. And granted, it's come with having to file for bankruptcy, lots of ups and downs, not knowing what I'm doing, running a nonprofit at times.
It's all learning. It's all learning. You're just learning every single day as you go. It's learning how to get clients for yourself, learning how to do everything. You gotta crawl and then walk and then run. So that is amazing. Talk about, you've gone through all this. What led you to doing the pageant? Because you're now coming out of this, you're now kind of getting yourself together. How did the pageant actually come about?
Oh my goodness. Well, that was a weird twist to everything, because I'm totally not a pageant girl, although I love getting dolled up, but like, I'm more of like a white wife beater and ripped jeans type of girl. Like, I live in San Diego, so like, I love that. Like a t-shirt like this. So, and I really honestly had a hard time with doing the pageant because of the I am enough persona, right? Like, I don't ever want to walk around and act like I have it together, because half the time I don't. And I don't want it to, I am a hot mess half the time, and I will own that. And so I had a hard time doing the pageant at first, because I didn't want people to judge me. Isn't that funny?
Oh, yes. We have so much in common, because that's the reason I didn't want to do it either.
I know. And like, you literally were on my podcast and my TV show, and we talked about this. Like, I didn't want people to judge me because I was wearing a tiara. Like, I don't care if people judge me if my hair is not done. Like, like, I can care less.
You're looking a hot mess.
But anyway, so
let me just acknowledge Lori real quick before that goes. Lori Porter Patterson says, glad you invited me to hear you this, Megan. I just went through my divorce after being married for 34 years and battling cancer. I can resonate with a lot of what you are saying. Thank you, Lori.
Out to Lori. She is on she's a friend, and I had no idea you were going through that. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to reach out to you, Sudie, for sure.
And also High Tech Mother, which is our mama here at Germaniac TV. She said a minute ago that she's still sleepy. I think it's like 3 or 4 a.m. and she'll watch it at 9 a.m. when she gets up. Okay. She woke up just to tell us that she's sleepy. And she'll get some rest, High Tech Mother. That's Santosh. So you did not want to be judged. Yeah, we talked about that on your show.
And, but it was an amazing experience. I mean, it was stressful, don't get me wrong, because I had to have my hair done for 4 days straight and had to be
makeup on
for 4 days straight. But I didn't go in there to win. Every time I
did.
do, I know, I love you. I love that you did. Well, I came in there to win the platform.
Right.
I did not come in there to win the crown, like the big crown, because I was like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay if I don't get it.
But you did win the platform. You did win it with I Am Enough, which is awesome.
Yes. And everything I do is to spread more awareness about the I Am Enough movement and to empower people to believe that they're enough. And so anytime I sign on to speak at an event or do a show or something, it's with the intention that I want to give back and spread this movement even more. And so I went in and did what I wanted to do and won the platform. I was a freaking blubbery, tearful mess. Poor Alicia. Alicia had to stand in front of me. Alicia, I always call you Alicia. I'm sorry. Alicia.
Fine.
Had to stand in front of me on stage. And even during rehearsal, I was like, I was like crying, like all of this stuff. But it was cool.
I had to keep whispering, don't cry, Megan, don't cry.
She's like, you know, saying that during the show, like whispering it to me. But no, and then I got to meet such amazing people like you. Like,
I know, this is the best thing.
It is. And
the connections.
You, by far, one of the most favorite people that I walked away as a friend with from that experience. But again, it was something that I had never done before. So it was also a challenge of me to get over my fear. Like I do modeling and that kind of stuff, but like, it's just in front of a camera. Like, I didn't know what it meant to walk the runway.
And
like, I'm only 4'11". Usually they don't have people like me walk runways. So like, I didn't know what I was doing or how to do the wave. So anyway, it was interesting. I had a great time. But it was, I think, just going in there and being able to like share to the world and other people.
All about the movement. Yeah. Your speech, you cried through your speech.
Oh my gosh. I cried at rehearsal when they played.
This is me. So I have a question. You mentioned a couple times being 4'11", being short, and we had a moment on the pageant with that too. And I can relate. Actually, I did a speech the other day and talked about one of my assets is that I'm short. It's actually an asset of mine. And people were like, huh? And I said, yeah, I could fit into small places. I could sit anywhere. You know, I could squeeze into a seat on a bus when it's full. It's like being tiny, it has its benefits.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what was going on, because you are the I Am Enough girl. Showing up, I am enough. And just to show that we are authentic and real, we have our moment.
Honest. We did. We had a moment.
So what was our moment?
And just because like I'm known now in certain parts of the country and the world as the I Am Enough girl, I still struggle with it. I struggle with it a lot. And that day we were sitting at rehearsal and I literally got paired to walk with the tallest woman in the pageant, literally the entire time. So like walking up with her, walking next to her, everything. And she was tall and blonde and gorgeous. And I turned to Alicia and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. My heels are not tall enough. Like, does anyone else have taller heels that I can borrow? Because I'm like, I can't walk in front, like next to her. And it was funny because like you and a couple of the other girls were just like, oh my gosh, you are enough. I know. Just let me have a moment. Like, let me have a moment, because yes, I know I'm enough, but like, I'm still like a little like timid about this. And so Alicia was so sweet, and I got to wear with one of my dresses. I got to wear.
You got to walk in my shoes.
But they were a little bit taller than mine. But it was really sweet because that's what my friends will do. And people, like, accountability is key. You kept me accountable that day, and I hardly knew you, but you're like, Megan, come on, you're the I Am Enough girl. Like, you got this. And then like my roommate will say the same thing, like Megan, because I'll be like, oh, I just don't feel like good enough. I can't do this. I can't. She'll be like, come on, get your card out, read it. Like, you know, and she'll do different things like that. So
High Tech Mother says I'm 4'11" tall too. Yeah. Stick of dynamite. Show up but powerful. Hey, it's Alicia Curry here on the Audacious Confidence Show. And my guest is Megan Fenyo. She is the founder of the I Am Enough movement. And that's what the topic is about today. Am I enough? So This is about the courage to be enough. So in this segment, we're going to talk about I am enough. And I want you guys to say it. Yes, I am enough, because it's all about cognitive
restructuring.
There you go. Cognitive restructuring. I learned that from Megan. So in your journey, so we talked a little bit about from your childhood, the struggles you've been through and how you overcame all those things, about how to recognize when you feel like you're not enough. And listen, guys, I'm the audacious confidence girl. There are days that I don't feel confident and I don't feel audacious. And so we're all works in progress, and we all have to keep practicing what we preach. We all have to keep reminding ourselves of the steps that we took to get where we are, and we have to continue to take those steps every single day to get to where we want to go. It's a continual process. And so Megan has started this movement, I Am Enough movement. Talk about what was the idea? Like, how did that come to you that I'm going to, like, I am enough and I'm going to start this?
Well, again, I did not know it was going to turn out the way it has. But during my own trauma work, I am a huge visual coping skills person. So like quotes and vision boards and anything I can get my hands on that literally helps me distract my mind from negative thinking. So when I was doing my trauma work, I was writing on sticky notes, like different things. And one of my phrases has always been, I am enough. And I've always just loved that. But I remember going through my trauma work and I'm like, I'm not enough. Like my ex-husband left me. I lost my job, like all of this stuff. And so I started writing on sticky notes, I am enough because. And I remember writing on one of the sticky notes, I am enough because I got out of bed this morning. Because that's where I had to start. I couldn't start anywhere bigger than that, but to say I am enough because I got out of bed this morning. Wow. And so a year ago, so the book came out, everything took off. And a year ago, I was like, okay, I want to give back. I want to do something more. And so I created these coping cards. I literally had no idea what was going to happen with them. But on the front, it says the word I am enough. And then on the back, if you can see it, it has the word because with 3 lines. And I just started sharing these cards with people. I do have to give a shout out. I was supposed to be on your show last week. Yeah. But one of my dear friends had passed away, Ryan Long, and I actually launched the I Am Enough movement at his event, the City Summit and Gala last year. And so he's been an integral part of the movement becoming as big as it has. So I got to give shout out to him. We love and miss you, Ryan. So thank you so much for all your support. But I launched the movement a year ago and it just kind of took off, and it was just me. It was me just doing, interviews like this, on my podcast, on just posting stuff on social media, literally anywhere I go. Like I just hand out these cards, I take selfies. And so in a year, I have mailed over 6,000 cards to 16 countries and 47 states. So people can go to the website and order these cards absolutely free. You get 5 of them for free. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, this is amazing. Awesome. But I'm like, I got to do something more with it. And then again, this is where Ryan and his business partner, Michelle, come into play. They encouraged me to turn the I Am Enough movement into a nonprofit back in November. And so I did and got the 501c3 status.
Designation.
Yes. And was runner-up beneficiary for Ryan and Michelle's event, City Summit and Gala, this year in February, 2 weeks before we tragically lost Ryan. So it's just been like full circle, like the last year. And I'm just so honored to have the movement spread and for so many people to believe in the mission and the vision of it, because I'm just me. And all I want to do is literally help people believe that they're enough. And so that's why the word because is on the back of this card. It's so important because you can't just say I am enough. You have to anchor it.
You have to anchor it.
Why? And so like I said, I started with I am enough because, and then the more work I did in the 5 steps that is outlined in my book, the more that statement changed, right? And so now it's I am enough because I unapologetically own who I am. I am enough for me, and that's all that matters.
Right.
And that took a while to overcome, to get to that point. But I am living proof that the minute you allow yourself to become vulnerable and authentic and real and raw and share your deepest, darkest tragedies and all of the stuff, your life will begin to change, and you will create that confidence without you even knowing it. Like, honestly, like I just started putting these things out here, these cards, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And now, we're doing a whole nother thing, which I cannot announce yet. And I want to.
I know. You gave me a sneak peek before the show, but it's coming. It's coming. So you got to follow Megan.
It's
big.
It is
huge.
Going to be announced like any day now. I just have to get permission from my board member. I only have one right now, but we're still growing. But so please, like, I'm so excited for what we're going to be building for the nonprofit. So I know I wish I could share it here.
I know. But one of my 7 steps.
Order your cards. You can go online and order your cards for free.
Okay, so 2 things. When I was building, in my 7 steps to Audacious Confidence, I talk about your passion and your purpose. That's step 3, and how it helps build your confidence. Because you said you didn't even realize your confidence was growing because you now have a passion, a purpose, a mission. And so you're unapologetically talking about this movement and being confident, stepping into that, because that's what's driving you. That's pushing you to do it. Your passion pushes you into things and places that you never really even thought that you would do. I mean, you're going on TV, you're doing interviews, you're standing on stage.
Nobody.
Exactly.
I have to say, I did this kind of tribute to Ryan on Facebook a couple days ago, and talking about how I was a nobody 2 years ago when I met him and Michelle. Like, I literally didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I didn't know anything. I'd never done like TV interviews or anything like that. And they had me on their stage. And first time ever being on stage speaking was like a year and a half ago. And just and I know you hear it a lot, but I'm truly, if I can like express it to your audience anymore, it's like when you're doing what you're meant to do, all of this stuff falls into place.
It's coming together. Yeah.
And I mean, I was on the Jenny McCarthy show. Kristen Bell shared my book on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it's all because I want to help others. There's nothing in it. I don't get any money for this. I just want to help.
You're actually investing your own money to do all of this, to send these cards out for free. You're investing in your own passion and your own mission. And so tell everyone how they can get their cards, because you said on the website, but we didn't mention the website.
Yeah. So it's either, it's IamEnoughMovement.info. That's the movement website. So you can go there, you can grab your free cards. I also have a ton of free resources on there because I am a therapist. So I have a lot of stuff that I use with my clients on there. You can check out I Am Enough TV and Blonde Bombshell podcast. Again, IamEnoughMovement.info. And also, real quick, we have an Instagram page. So people from all over the world will send me selfies of them holding their I Am Enough cards, and they get their own day on Instagram when they send it to me. So you can check that. That's enough_movement_. So you can check out the Instagram. It's small. We're still building it, but yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So there was something else in my head that I wanted to ask you about the cognitive restructuring. So when you start doing this, don't give up, right? Because you said you had to build it. So tell us what those 5 steps are in the last minutes that we have.
Okay. So the step 1 is discovering your true self. This is the raw, the real, the hard work that people are really scared to do. It's really about radical acceptance, which is I talk more about in my second book. And also like redefining your values and really getting to the root cause of what is causing you not to feel like enough. And then once you do that work, you can move into step 2, which is visualizing your passion and purpose. which is where when I started visualizing, like speaking on stage and all of this stuff, because I had never imagined that 2 years ago. And then step 3 is grounding yourself. So even though you're doing all of this work and you're starting to get all of these new ideas and passions and purpose, we still have to learn how to ground those negative thoughts because they still creep up. I am enough girl and a therapist, but I still struggle with it. And so I have to enact a lot of my grounding skills to kind of keep my mind focused.
Like, what is a grounding skill that you can share?
Visual coping cards.
Visual cards. Yay! I hoped you would have said that.
So grounding is anything that helps you distract your mind from a negative emotion, anxiety, fear, negative thinking, whatever. So there's tons. And actually, if you go to my website or the movement website, you can download a handout of some different types of grounding skills. You can do that. So there's a bunch of them on there. And then just step 4 and 5 is, step 4 is creating your strength plan. So this is making sure that while you're trying to build this new life and a new dream and all of this stuff, like how do you manage everything? So where does your self-care come in? Where does all the stuff you have to do, as a mom, as a father, as a daughter, student, whatever, like how do you fit all of this in? And then the last step is strengthening your healthy habits. So that really talks about the importance of finding your strength tribe. So those are the people that are going to keep you accountable, that love you, that are going to keep you, in their hands per se, and kind of like your cheerleaders, and also avoiding complacencies. So not getting back into the rut that you've been in, because even though you go through steps 1 through 5, it does not mean that you're not going to have to visit one of these steps again.
You're going to always have to revisit them.
Like I always say, anytime that you go through something in your life that is life-changing, whether it be health, career, relationships, what have you, you have to go back to rediscover yourself because you are no longer that person that you were before that incident or that thing or that person or what have you happened.
Growth and change. You have to find out who you are again. I love it, Megan. And your book is available on Amazon?
Yes, Amazon. And someone just told me today that the ebook's not on there anymore. So I don't know what happened to that. So right now you can get the audio and the paperback. But just to say with the paperback, the cool thing is I pose questions at the end of each chapter and places for you to journal. So you can actually start doing the work right now.
In the book.
In the book, yeah. And then I got to figure out what happened to the ebook, but it's been up there for over a year and a half. So I don't know why all of a sudden it's not there.
It's not there. Oh, we'll double check that. Oops, I did it again.
I did it again. Okay, sorry.
Well, this has been so informative. This has been such an amazing 45 minutes with you, really. Well, it's almost 45 minutes. And I really, really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better. I mean, I know you from the pageant. We've had discussions. I've been on your show. But this is the other side. You've interviewed me twice, and this is the first time I'm getting to interview you. So I'm so excited I got to do this and learn a little bit more about you and the movement. And listen, get involved, look at the website, start doing the plans, get the book. It's really, really life-changing. If you want to see your life accelerate and get yourself to another level where you're not going through the same patterns that you were going through before, you need to really hook in with Megan because she is amazing.
Thank you, Bill. You're just as amazing.
Thank you. And just what you were saying, I know I'm wrapping up in a second, but just as you were saying that you have to revisit those steps, when I decided to do this pageant, I have my 7 steps to audacious confidence, and I had to go back through all 7 steps to prepare myself for this pageant. So it's never ending. It's always learning, always growing, always evolving, always developing. And when you're at another level, another devil. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I've never heard that before.
Never heard it before. Another level, another devil. So there other negative thoughts that are going to come that you didn't have before that now you're going to have to go through that process to get rid of. So always keep it going. So I would just like to say, Megan, do you have any last words that you would like to share?
Well, it's kind of like a quote that I have that I love. It's the ending of my TV show. And I would just like to share it with your audience just real quick to give them some hope and inspiration that you are enough. just as you are, regardless of whatever season you're in. And the more you celebrate and focus on that, the more you will live in your strength. Always remember to be bold, be brave, be unapologetically you, because you are enough.
Thank you so much for joining me. I know we had to reschedule, but it was well worth the wait. And I want to have you back again.
Of course, anytime.
Talk about your big news. Talk about your big news.
Oh yeah, my big news. Oh my gosh, I know. It's happening.
All right. Well, thank you. Don't go anywhere. Stay in the green room for me. Let me just wrap up the show. So we've been talking to Megan Fenyo. She is a licensed mental health therapist in San Diego, California. And both of us met at the Women of Achievement pageant last year. And she is just a phenomenal lady. She is the founder of the I Am Enough movement, which is a nonprofit organization. And I encourage you to get involved. Go to her website and check it out. IamEnough.info. So for me here, Alicia Khoury, on the Audacious Confidence Show, I want to tell you that, it's so easy to slip back into feeling like you're not enough, like, you're not confident enough, or you don't have what it takes. But just remember, like Megan said, that you are enough, and to embrace your audacious confidence. And here on Dramaniac TV, we like to say, you dream big and we make it happen. So good night, everybody. Mwah. Hi, Alicia Khoury here. If you enjoyed that episode of the Audacious Confidence Show, check out more on this channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. And if you hit that notification button, you won't miss a single